As President-elect Trump is putting the world on notice. He's threatening to take control of Greenland, Canada, and the Panama Canal. And in his news conference yesterday, he did not rule out using sanctions. Let's listen here.
The Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. We need Greenland for national security purposes. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No. Economic force. Because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
Let's bring in Fox News contributor Joey Jones. Joey, last night on Special Report, I watched John Fetterman along with Katie Britt. He was asked about this by Bret Baier. Listen to what he said.
There's a lot of talk about Greenland, for example. Now, and I know there's a lot of freakouts, and of course I would never support taking it by force. But I do think it's a responsible conversation if they were open to acquiring it, and whether just buying it outright. I mean, if anyone think that's bonkers, it's like, well, remember the Louisiana Purchase?
And Joey, he also talked about Seward's Folly, which ended up being Alaska. Let's get your take on Greenland. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things here. Number one, don't ever underestimate a man who's willing to go into Manhattan and build a skyscraper. I mean, I think the majority of politicians in D.C. would be absolutely overwhelmed and probably scared to death if they put their entire life on the line for something like that. And President Trump did that decades ago. So, he's going to come into the office. We had a president that made hope and change a campaign slogan. Now we may have a president that makes it a policy. I think he understands how important it is for Americans to feel like we are a superpower, that we are prosperous, that we are defended. And this is a part of that narrative. Now, if you've read the book On Killing, and I don't suppose most people have, it's by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman. It's a military textbook on basically how you get one human being to fight another. He talks about that we always say fight or flight, but there are two other things that interspecies do that are just as important. That's posture and submission. And then you can look at different species, snakes, spiders, and they have this version of fighting where they don't actually fight. One postures, the other submits, and he proposes humans act that way too. I think President Trump understands that, and this is a form of posturing. It's not a direct analogy, but I liken it to Teddy Roosevelt sending the Great White Fleet around the world. At that time, we probably couldn't defeat the rest of, or all of Europe in military power, but we had the strongest Navy, and we made sure the entire world, to include, importantly, Japan, knew about it. So if President Trump's coming into office, there's war literally all over the world, in Europe and the Middle East. We've got essentially a war at the southern border when it comes to what's coming across the border. He needs to posture. He needs to let the world know that America isn't on the decline. It's on the rise, that we don't have an administration coming in that will either make apologies or concessions around the world to keep a fake peace. And I think this is a part of that overall, I guess, posture or policy that he's putting out there. Now, on Greenland specifically, Greenland has made moves towards independence from Denmark in the 21st century. This is a movement there. 70% of the people there want to be independent. So maybe he's taking advantage of that, less than trying to take it over.
Joey Jones, I always love seeing you. Hopefully next time it's in person. Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.